Hello, my name is Yasmin Euphemia, aka Sugar, and I'm here tonight with.
Hi, I'm Beverly. I'm your UK fluffy chick, and we are the founder Sis-Stars of Supporter Sis-Star Network, where the main aim is to showcase people's businesses and their talents and whatever your passion is to share with our networking community. And this evening we have with us, would you like to be called Emma or Mama Luna?
Emma, that's my name. So yeah.
Okay, so we have Emma
Hi,
with us.
Emma.
All right, Emma. So tell us a little bit about who Emma is and what are you showcasing with the community this evening?
So my name is Emma. Thank you again for having me on your platform. Oh gosh, that's such an open question. Just a bit about myself. I'm 35. I'm Capricorn. I'm a Londoner, born and raised. Like I literally am London till I die. Like I'm London till I die. It doesn't matter
She's
where
a
in the
true
world.
urbanite.
Well, yeah, I'm London till I die, but I love nature and I don't actually live in London. So,
Oh,
like,
wow. Confuse
yeah,
us now.
yeah, exactly. No, I'm really passionate about natural health. I'm passionate about women's health and empowerment. I'm passionate about like the environment, nature, eco-sustainability, about mental health, and more so, I'm really passionate about people rewriting and reclaiming their narratives, which brings me to what I'll be sharing here today. So I'm I'm the founder and creative director of Mama Luna, which is a platform for women to rediscover, reconnect to, reclaim, redefine their womanhood and feminine energy. And it's to use all of those things so that we can, like, I really mean it when I say to use all of those things so we can show up authentic, whole, grounded, and so that we can literally live the best life possible with autonomy and agency. So that's what my platform is all about. And I mainly do that using holistic health practices. And the main one is Yoni Steaming, which I'm sure you two are going to ask me about
Yep.
later down the line.
Yep. Yes, I'll let you start first, Sugar, because
No. Why is it your main one?
It's my main one because that's what I use to reclaim, rediscover, reconnect to my womanhood, my agency, my autonomy, and authenticity. And
okay, let me stop you right there because there's people that don't know what is Yoni Steam. I mean, not like I know, I don't even know myself. What exactly is
I can't see
Yoni
you crouching, but yeah, carry on.
Okay. Well, yoni steaming is like steaming your veins, but you steam your yoni. And your yoni specifically, it's your fallopian tubes, it's your ovaries, it's your endometrium, it's your perimetrium, it's your uterus, also known as your womb, it's your cervix, it's your vaginal canal. Yeah, it's your vulva. So the vulva is the outer part that you can see, which is your clitoris, your glans clitoris. That's a flap of skin that covers your clitoris. It's your inner and outer labia, and then it's the opening of your vagina as well. So all of that gets steamed along with your pelvic floor muscles as well. So that's what gets steamed. It's the actual heat itself that permeates through your muscles and gets to all of these specific areas of your body. So that's what yoni steaming is in the most basic.
No, because like I said, I've only just heard the terminology, but to really know what it is, barring having to go look on Google, it's nice to actually hear it in layman terms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. So continue.
No, that's okay. So yeah, I did the yoni steam. Best thing in my life. And that was, gosh, how old am I now? 35. So that was almost 10 years ago, about 8 years ago, and it still remains one of the best things I ever did. That was the first time I was able to sleep for a full 7 hours. I didn't have a flashback. I didn't have nightmares. And after the attack, I was not getting good quality sleep. I was maybe sleeping 2 hours at a time. the flashbacks. I mean, first of all, it was so physically hard to sleep because I was in so much pain from the actual physical attack. Like, I was in so much pain, and it was so hard to even swallow pain pills as well. And I don't like, I'm a very like natural health. I very rarely would even take paracetamol, but at that time I was just like, I need to because I'm in so much pain. But my throat was like so swollen from like the injuries and everything else that I could not swallow pain pills. So I just had to just sort of put up with it, really. So there was that. And when I did get sleep, I'd have nightmares and then when I'd wake up from the nightmare, it would still be so fresh on my mind. So I would have like flashbacks, and then that would continue in my waking day. Like, every single thing was.
Do you think it's the Yoni Steam that did it, or the fact that you had to focus on doing something for yourself? Like, it was like, it's like a type of meditation, because to deal with the steam, the hot water, the setting it up, because I think they've got stools now, haven't they? But when I knew about it, it was just a bowl of hot water that you stooped over.
Yeah, well, that's actually how I did it the first time, and it really wasn't comfortable. Like, I was just like, no matter how many squats I've done in my life, my thighs still weren't strong enough for me to be squatting for like 30 minutes over a pot. So that's why I started making the seats myself, because I was like, I want to continue doing this. So I make the seats myself. But to go back to your question, it's an intention. So I always say to everyone, you have to have, not that you have to, but if you're using Yoni Steaming, particularly for healing and for trauma transformation, you have to have an intention. And at that time, my intention was to just get through the day. Like, I just wanted to get through the day. And then as my confidence grew a bit more, as I started to recover, at least like physically, the intention became a bit more clarified. And something I'd really like to say at this point also is that for anyone who's interested in Yoni Steaming, the Yoni Steaming itself is not what's going to heal you or bring that transformation. It's you. That ability to do that already exists inside of you. The Yoni Steaming, like the herbs, the setting, it just facilitates you being able to connect with that inner magic that you have, because we all have that power within. It's, especially as women, it's just been systematically oppressed. And I'd love to speak about that later, but I hope that answers your question, is that I was able to get a good.
You've actually picked up on what I was trying to ask and didn't even know what I was asking.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's a type of meditation, like you're saying, you have to do it with intention, and the fact that you had to step away from, let's call it the trauma, away from what you're in the middle of, so that you can concentrate on yourself, is part of the healing.
Yeah.
Now, all right, so we know what's brought you to where you are, but where are you?
So I'm probably at the most empowered place I've ever been in my life. Honestly, I wake up every single day, and the thought that runs through my mind multiple times a day is, thank God I am on this path where I have an awareness of mental health, because growing up as a Black woman, are you mad? Mental health? What? I'm meant to be a strong Black woman. I'm meant to be like a donkey and carrying everyone's load. I'm meant to be struggle love and laying back on the mat and let everyone walk all over me. I'm meant to be fighting everyone's fight. Mental health? No. So I have completely reclaimed mental health, and I'm not strong. I've realized I'm a very sensitive and soft Black woman. I'm sensual as well. And I love that. Like, I love that for myself. I'm grateful every day that I'm partner free, I'm child free. I don't find any fulfillment whatsoever in being in relationships. I've never wanted to be a mum, but that's what I was told I was going to be right from when I was very young. Even now, my mum is like, oh, you'll get married, you'll have children. I'm just like, no, mum, you're not listening. But I know.
Never say never, but this is not the time.
No, never. I know, but that's the thing. Like with Yoni Steaming, it depends on your intention. For me, it helps, and this is what I do in my workshops and with my clients as well. Yoni steaming, it helps you to get to that place of honesty within yourself. It's so hard for a lot of people to do that because of what we've been taught. And when our honesty and our authenticity is in conflict with what we've been literally indoctrinated and programmed into, alarm bells literally start ringing in our brain. So our hippocampus, the front of our brain, that's to do with like rational thinking and reasoning, just shuts down, and then it's our amygdala that takes over. So our amygdala is basically, it's always running, it's always on auto tune, and that's what helps with our almost like fight, flight, freeze responses. So that's what takes over, and we're not able to rationalize or anything. It's just go do whatever to survive. Our central nervous system, which sits all along, starts from the very bottom of your spine and goes up into your brain. It stops at the very base of your spine, but the nerves along that are just panicking. They're panicking because it's just like, what's this change? I don't know if I can take this risk. I don't know if it's safe for me to be me. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Yoni steaming, it helps to sort of like, it won't fully deactivate your brain, because it's, you know, it's good to have your fight or flight senses. It's, you know, fear has its places and stuff. They help to keep us safe, alive and stuff. But at least you can be safe within yourself, within your body, to at least just like have that authentic and honest conversation with yourself. And
hold on, you do workshops, you said?
Yeah, I do. So I run workshops. That's where I'm at with Mama Luna. I run workshops and I focus on either two things. One is healing and transformation. The other is periods, menstrual cycle, cyclical living. So anything to do with the menstrual cycle on one side, anything to do with healing and trauma transformation on the other. There are loads of other benefits of Yoni steaming, and I'm still welcome anyone who wants to come for me to any other reason. But in terms of
where are you based for that?
So I'm based in Bristol, but my workshops are online.
Okay.
They're online. I do coaching as well, so people can get either 6 or 12 coaching sessions. Again, that's for either periods or healing and trauma transformation. All online. I do want to run workshops in person again, but that in terms of getting people to show up to the workshops and stuff is internalized misogyny. And I totally get it, because I've been there before myself, but it's just like it takes a lot for women to want to show up to these spaces. So doing it online is easier. More people can join.
And these Yoni steam seats, is it something that you supply?
Yeah, I do. Would you like to see one? I'm actually going to do
because I'm hearing, because I was hearing about you lot saying about squatting over a pot, and I'm thinking like, me with my bad knee, how would that work for me? Like,
yeah.
So,
give me a second. I'm gonna go get my Yoni steam.
Yeah, so I make my own Yoni steam seats here at Mama
Uh-huh.
Luna, and here's one of the ones. So here's the one that I've got that I'm made for myself. So as you can see, it's really lightweight. I can just pick it up or whatever, but this can carry up to like 15, 16 stone. It's a pine wooden base. All of the material is organic, so organic cotton, and then a really nice cushion here on top, so it's nice and comfortable. And then that's where the African print is. And literally, you just open it up, you put your bowl of herbs inside, and this is where you would actually sit over. So the steam can actually rise up there, and it has like direct contact with your yoni, especially like the exterior, and the heat can spread through your pelvic floor muscles. So yeah, these are the seats that I make, and there are a range of African patterns. I chose African patterns specifically because Yoni steaming does come from Africa. It's an ancient South African practice specifically. So I wanted to honor my African sisters, basically, who have like done this and stuff, especially because when it comes to like the holistic health and wellness industry, Black women have like incredibly like underrepresented. And if we do sort of like start gaining more traction, then we're called aggressive, we're bullies, we're taking up too much space. So this for me is just honoring the women who came before us, who did this, who spread their knowledge throughout the continent and then around the world as well. Each print as well is connected to a different I want to say like feminine archetype or energy. So this one, even though she's not of African descendancy, is the Prin representing Lilith. So the same Lilith that is mentioned in the Bible, the first wife of Adam. I absolutely love this Prin, specifically because she represents, just really standing on your own 2 feet, knowing that, you've got human rights, autonomy, agency. And there are loads of other prints as well. So yeah, I made these. This one here is a large, and there's a smaller version which is literally maybe 10 centimeters shorter, and that one is just £10 less. I'd recommend the bigger seat for anyone who maybe has like back problems or knee problems. It's quite like the seat, you can see it's quite small. So regardless if you have back problems or knee problems, when you sit down on it, regardless of the position you actually sit on, simply for the fact that you're sitting low, that just helps to open up your hip muscles. And that's incredibly important when it comes to like doing this work, because we store so much energy in our hips, and the heat can spread easier for our hips and just helps to just
So does the bowl come with the stool, or do we just put in our own bowl?
No, so I sell the bowls as well. So I sell the bowls to actually put the herbal mixture in. I sell a range of different herbal blends as well. The number one seller is the personalized blends. So you can buy a pack of personalized herbs. We have a chat for about 30 to 45 minutes. So I help you clarify exactly what your intentions are. And then what happens is that I'll then write up a list of herbs. I'll write down the properties of the herbs. So they're scientific or like medical properties, such as, I don't know, antispasmodic or adaptogen, relaxant, whatever. And then if there's sort of like an energetic property to it that will help you with your intention, I'll also write that one down as well.
So even women are coming into the menopause, it would be beneficial for them as well.
100%, because you still have a yoni. Do you know what I mean? It's still a muscle, a combination of muscles that still need to receive fresh blood, fresh oxygen. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Otherwise, they just end up it's just a buildup of, just gonna sound really yucky, but dead tissue cells. You know.
And that's what it is at the end of the day. But like even like for period pains, surely it must ease that.
Yeah, well, that's why, again, I said one half of my workshops and my offer are tailored on anything to do with the menstrual cycle. So for me, 3 months into Yoni Steaming, so that would have been, good to steam maybe twice a month as a beginner anyway. So by the time I'd only done 6 steams, only 6 for about 40 minutes. My period became regular, it became lighter, it became shorter in duration, less painful. And 8 years down the line, I don't experience period pains. So I was going to say, so some people's cycles do change, especially with the cycles of the moon as well. So even if sometimes my period might be a bit early, I know when it's going to be, because I'm so tuned into my body. And so many women, especially as girls, we're not taught about, our periods, not in a way that really means anything to us. What we're actually really taught is internalized misogyny and hatred and shame and stigma and silence, and that literally disconnects us from our body. I'm just like, how can we be about to bleed and we don't know when we're coming on? How can we have cramps and be moody, yet we don't know about massages, we don't know about whining and twerking, and we don't know about samba and salsa and hula hoop and all of these things that help us with our body? How do we not know about breast massage or anything? Is because these parts of our body they're so closely linked to shame. So I don't have any of that. I don't have any of that. I have no F's to give when it comes to my body and my period. Like, I love myself. I absolutely love myself. And because of that, I will tune into my body. I will honor my cycle. I will switch off my emails. I won't talk to anyone for 3 or 4 days because I'm just like, I'm bleeding. I need to go within. I don't have the energy to give. And even if I did have it to give, are you worthy? Do you know what I mean?
No, because I just remembered, like, when I was in my teens, I used to get really, really bad cramps and period pain. I mean, to the point where I just couldn't move. And I remember because I was with my grandmother, and my grandmother put me over, used to put me over a bucket of water to sit down. And it's just, as I said, it just triggered a memory. I didn't even remember that. She used to make me either, and then she also used to have, oh my God, a douche.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh gosh, yes.
It looked like a hot water bucket with the pipe,
Yeah.
a hose coming from it. And
I remember that.
yeah, she used to douche me out. And then, but then later on you hear that douching is not good. But then my grandma used to do that with me when I was younger with my periods. But then, yeah, I just remembered that. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So bucket with the steam is really common in the Caribbean. It's really, really common in the Caribbean. Or at least maybe with sort of like with your grandmother's generation, it's a lot more common. But as more like urbanization, westernization has like crept in, and more distractions, it's definitely what I call them, distractions have crept in. It's disconnected us from things that are part of our heritage. It disconnected us. It really only takes about 40 to 60 minutes. It's even disconnected us from thinking that we have the time to put aside from it. And then you've got to think about colonization as well. Colonization has done an absolute number.
Oh, yes.
On us, to even for us. When I hear about older Caribbean women such as your grandmother's generation doing it, I'm just like, wow, because again, colonization has completely stripped us of this knowledge.
As soon as they hear about it, they're going to clamp down, and that's what happened with the douchebags.
Yeah.
They can't possibly be good. We didn't invent that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So things like that, and again, that's another part of Mama Luna is decolonizing healthcare, whether that's maternal care, like pregnancy care, postpartum care. It can just be, it's mental health care as well. It's just decolonizing the whole process. And I think it's really important that we speak about this. Like, a majority of my customers are white women. I still talk about decolonization as much to them as I would to Black and brown women, because colonization affects everyone. You know, it affects everyone. So, and I think definitely in terms of health as well, because working as a herbalist, so I'm a herbalist. I love that aspect of my work, and that has probably been the second most empowering thing that I've found with Mama Luna, and also some of my clients as well, because I can work with herbs. Herbs are the original medicine. Not only can I work with them, I have easy access to them. Lavender, rosemary, chamomile, marigold, red rose petals, they all grow so easily here in this UK as well. So it's so easy for you to just pick them while you're out walking or something. Wash, give them a really good wash at home with some warm water, apple cider vinegar or something. Leave them to dry for a month. You've got your own herbs there. Rosemary, thyme, sage, oregano. How many of those are already sitting in our kitchen cupboards? Do you know what I mean? And that we can use as medicine. So it puts medicine back into the hands of the people. Whereas the Western medical institution
Don't even start.
It doesn't actually empower people that much. It just turns you into someone.
Into junkies.
Don't get me wrong, it has its place, because if I were to get into a car crash, I'm not reaching for my herbs, I'm reaching for my phone to call 999. Do you know what I mean? So let's be real. But touch wood, I'll never be in that situation. But my point is that with this, it puts health back into the hands of people, and that's our human right. The way we've been taught about so many things, especially as women, is that nothing is actually in our hands. So we always go seeking for things externally. So I always encourage my customers, I love that they buy herbs from me. I love that I get to be part of someone's Yoni health journey. I love being able to hold that intentional space for someone, because I always put the herbs on a little altar space at home, and say a prayer over it and really take that person's intentions to heart. But I also love it even more when women come to me and it's just they recognize what marigold looks like, because I gave them different sheets of paper or sent them pictures, or they recognize how to pick nettle or stinging nettle without being stung. They know the difference between regular stinging nettle and white dead nettle and stuff, or just things like that. And just you can the earth is our pharmacy. So I love that aspect of it as well. And again, just decolonizing the process. It puts, I definitely think that's a major thing for anyone who's a midwife or a traditional doula as well, because so many herbs are used within that practice as well. And I know that there are loads of traditional doulas who are using a lot more herbs in their practice, and they're using the same herbs that women were persecuted for. In this here England, we're not even talking like America during the Salem witch trials or anywhere else. Just in this here UK alone, there were women that were literally trialed as witches and killed for using herbs that stop bleeding, like excessive bleeding during childbirth or postpartum, things like that. Do you know what I mean? So it's been able to like really reclaim that as the process itself. So yeah, my platform is all about women just really just doing the inner work
autonomy
to
and authenticity. I feel like at this
So
point,
where can you be found?
There'll be talks of SA, DV, SH.
I only know BV out of that list.
Okay, well, SA is I don't know if because you're going to put this on YouTube. Shmeshmal harassment, shmeshmal assault. So
okay,
yeah, and I'm just being because YouTube has like crazy algorithms and stuff like that. So hate as well. So the R word, and then also the shmaboshmashmoshran. That's the best.
I feel like I'm learning a whole new language. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, we've got to. Yeah. Well, either way, I'll be speaking about those things. But basically, when I first heard about Yoni Steaming 6 months before I actually did it. And when I heard about it, I was not in a place of empowerment when it came to my body. There was still, I mean, so much internalized misogyny, internalized shame, internalized hatred simply for being a woman. And I suppose so much of my life up until that point was focused on being Black rather than a Black woman. It's like those two things were separate. And even though I was like really into women's empowerment, I wasn't living in a community where it was okay to really just like redefine, reclaim, or just be your own type of woman unless it served the status quo. So it was okay to be like, yes, I'm a woman and but only if you're going to be someone's wife or mother or basically like a pick me and engage in struggle love. So if we fast forward like maybe 4 or 5 months on, I was involved in basically domestic abuse, and it came to a head, and I was attacked, and it was just a really horrific ordeal. I did decide to pursue it and go to the courts, and I had to go to the police and all of that to press charges. But even as part of that, I had to get, goodness knows how much like evidence from the GP, from surgery to like prove my injuries and stuff like that. And I was what, maybe 26 at the time, so it's not like I was like Bambi, like I'm a baby or anything, but I was still really young, and just the fact that I had
that experience in itself, it's not like it's a common experience, is it?
Yeah. So basically that was just really, really hard to deal with, and it got to the point where I was my mental health, I was struggling on a daily basis to even get up, have a shower, breakfast. That took everything out of me. And yet I still had to get evidence together. I was fighting with GPs. All of the nurses at the GP surgery I went to were white, and they couldn't see the bruises, they couldn't see the marks. So according to them, there was nothing there. I was just being dramatic, all in my head. They would hang up the phone on me, even with, like, I requested to be seen by a Black or brown GP, doctor, nurse so many times. Mind you, I was living in Woolwich, which is mini Nigeria. And I was just like, how in mini Nigeria do you not have any Black GPs? So I was experiencing a lot of racism. I didn't really see it at the time, because my mental health was just so,
you're not dealing with too much.
Yeah. the police weren't being very helpful at all. The courts weren't being helpful. I didn't know that they were giving me like the wrong dates in terms of when I meant to go there. That would have been the first time I saw the perpetrator, and I was just so, I didn't even now.
Back the trauma, the experience of the trauma again.
Yeah, exactly. Also, I just didn't want to see this person, and to think that I'd have to go out there and be my word against his, possibly, or maybe even just like sit there. It was just a lot, and I was just in such a desperate place of being like, oh my God, I feel so dead inside. And then I remembered, oh, Yoni Steaming. I read in the book that it helps you like cleanse physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. And I thought, you know what? I have nothing else to lose now. Like, I'm gonna give it a go. So I got in touch with a woman who sells herbs. Blended them up. Went home, did a Yoni Steam. Yeah, definitely, definitely. And the thing is that at the time when I went through the attack and was like recovering, I was living with my dad. That guy did not care at all. He did not care at all, and it makes me think it's no wonder I ended up in such an abusive dynamic. That's the thing. I don't want to call it a relationship, because the guy who did it, we were not in a relationship. His issue was that he was a narcissist. He was entitled. He thinks women
are available.
And I'm just like living with my dad again, because I hadn't lived with him since I was a teenager, living with him. And then as an adult woman, I was just like, it's no wonder that I ended up attracting that guy and almost like leeching onto him. Because one of the things that Yoni Steaming helped me to understand was that I had a whole lot of daddy issues. The guy that had attacked me, he was much older, probably like the same age as my dad. So he was literally twice my age when we met. But I was 24, he was 48, 49. He was a really bad, absent dad, had his whole own host of issues going on. And I was I was so young, I was vulnerable, simply for the fact that I was like less than twice his age already made me vulnerable. But then also coming from
the background, and that's what our manifest guy was talking about, having to deal with the roots of where you're coming from.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And a large part of it, and this is again something that became clearer as I continued Yoni Steaming. Because, so let me just go back. So I did the Yoni Steam. I woke up, I felt amazing. And to think the previous day, it would have taken every single cell of energy to even decide between bread and butter for breakfast or cereal. And then after I'd made that decision, I'd be done. Like, I had nothing left to give. All of a sudden, I woke up. I was like, I had a clear mind. I was like, okay, like I've got an actual action plan here. I felt confident. Like, I felt like I got my voice back to be able to, send emails and call the police to be like, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, and da 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 da. I felt like I could leave the house. I hadn't left the house in such a long time at that point, just because people were scary. I was being triggered by everything. Like, I couldn't even open the window at one point, because if a bird flew past, that would be it. Like, I'd have a panic attack and be like in a fetal position.
Anxiety is there with you.
Yeah, exactly. So I felt amazing. Honestly, when I tell you, I felt like I was like, right, who wants to fight me? Who wants to fight? Because I'll fight, like I fight. Like, maybe a bit too overconfident, but that's how good I felt. I felt like I'd got like some sort of like lease of life and energy, vitality, like back. Like, I felt like I got a little bit of myself back. And like I said, my intention with doing that was just like, I wanted to be able to feel something. So even if it's to feel capable or whatever, and I got that back plus a million times more. So then further down the line, I say maybe 2 months on, after still going through the court process and stuff like that, which again just continued to be really, really terrible. The the guy was in jail, by the way, so he was being held in custody. And then it was just a case of me having to like get paperwork and everything ready. We go to trial. So I'm fast forwarding a bit. So maybe 4 months on from now, we go to trial. I was told I don't need to go because he had said guilty to everything I had written down. The police had been like over to his house, like arrest him, but they actually saw the room where everything happened, and it matched up with what I said on my statement. So then, because I was told that he said he's going to say guilty, I didn't need to be there, and that was a massive relief for me. It was such a massive relief because I was just like, I don't want to, like, I'm not ready. Even if I was, I still never would. But then what's meant to happen in situations like that, and this is, again, the justice system, it does not care for women at all, especially women of colour, especially women who are of the who experience socioeconomic disadvantages as well. Like, I was told that because he's going to say guilty, I was automatically meant to be sent a transcript of the court proceedings. I was meant to be given the title of the judge who ruled over it. I was meant to be automatically given a restraining order as well. Didn't get any of that at all.
But do you think that's because I've seen, I can't remember where I saw it, where there's this perception that Black women have got such an iron skin resilience levels that nothing phases us. Hence why we don't need support because we're good. That kind of attitude from society.
Just now, this week alone is the Black woman pregnancy, because how many Black women are suffering, like giving birth? They've actually got a week for it, in remembrance. So it's not just the trauma that you've gone through, Emma, but just Black women in general. But, yes.
Yeah.
Let us
I definitely want to touch on that because that's part of almost like part of this large system or institution of oppression and suppression. And again, a large part of the reason why I started Mama Luna, because even remember when I mentioned going to the nurses at a GP to go and get evidence of my bruising and stuff, all of them were right. I didn't realize at the time then that was racism. I just wasn't in the right headspace to even be able to have that kind of thinking or reasoning. So then coupled that with the fact that courts in general, they don't care about women. So many laws are anti-Black, anti-women, anti-poor people. And when I finally, I didn't even get the court transcripts. I found this out on Facebook. The reason why the courts said, the reason why the judge basically literally slaps this guy in the wrist and was just like, go to anger management classes, was because he had said that we were together, which we weren't. And I had said this in my statement time and time again, we were not together. He said that we were together and I had cheated on him with multiple guys. So according to the courts, I was basically slutting around. What am I doing as a woman, not appreciating that there's this guy who likes me and not giving all of my time and attention to him? What am I doing showcasing sexual autonomy and agency and power? You know what I mean? So it's very much, and it doesn't surprise me at all, because that's a massive thing for women in not even just modern society. It's been throughout history. Any woman who showcases any sexual agency, power, autonomy is shamed. Basically, put you into the Virgin Mary or Mary
Delilah. I'm just making up a name.
Yeah, no, but no, it's literally, it's either you're a virgin or the whore, and if you're the whore, you need to be shamed for that. And I was just like, and the thing is, it's again, even in my court transcripts, I said I did not sleep with these guys. that he said that I did sleep with. I was just like, no, I didn't. I gave names and was like, you can contact these people and ask them yourself. The judges never did that. Never did that.
No,
And
of course not.
again, this is just a very systematic thing for how the justice system works against women. Because even if you leave out the police, court, mediation, anything like that, if you just think about like just society, so your community, when it comes to like dating, sex, relationships, men still have the upper hand. And the tide is changing, but unfortunately they do still have the upper hand. Live in a society that is very male identified, and it has been made that way because there's, you know, women who have autonomy and agency are a threat to the status quo. The status quo is that men are the ones in control, men are the ones in power, men are the ones who get to decide who they're with, when they're with. Men are the ones who can also go about spreading their secrets. They're not the ones who actually have the children or anything. Whereas it's that women are illogical, we're too emotional, we don't know what we want, we need to be controlled, it's for our own good. And that also when it comes to like our sex, our bodies, it always comes down to a lot of it comes down to pregnancy, but it's just like, well, we need to be controlled so that a guy knows that it's his child. And it's just like, these aren't even archaic, these are vampiric ways of thinking.
Prehistoric.
Yeah, so prehistoric. I'm talking like this is beyond caveman. But again, these are things that exist within the sort of like the the justice institutions, because the statistics already show it. They don't care about women. The Casey report came out. That didn't say anything new. Women already knew this, that these institutions are misogynistic. Even police women themselves say that they feel sexually harassed, they've experienced sexual harassment, and they are already in a position of power. So then what's it going to be like for the everyday woman who is who has a justice system that doesn't care for them, that is in a community that blames them? Because when this guy came out of custody, he was bragging about it on Facebook. He was bragging about the whole attack. He was bragging about everything. It was comment after comment after comment of mostly women defending him and then attacking me. So that's the kind of society we live in. And again, I just felt like so much was like stacked up against me. But luckily I had Yoni Steaming So by the time the guy was out of jail, who was on Facebook and people like attacking me like left, right and center, I had already, my intention for Yoni Steaming was to find out why I kept on being attacked by men and how to make it stop. That was still the frame mind I was in. I was still very male identified. I still had a lot of internalized misogyny. And gosh, this fills me with so much shame. I don't have shame over anything I've ever done. But this one particular thing I do have shame is that I acted like a pick-me.
Well, when you're a child, what do you know? That's the only way you can act.
Yeah,
you can't beat yourself up for that.
I think a lot of women can, if they're going to be completely honest. We've all been there. We've all been there, and can wear a t-shirt because of how we are conditioned in growing up. That's the word, conditioned. That's just the norm to have that mindset. So there's no shame in it. It's just you know, the fact that you're authentic enough to say, hey, that in itself is a healing on its own. Yeah, because you have to. It's all good and well. You can put on these faces and these masks and pretend we're angels, like you said, it's either angel or whore. So be, you know, or if you know, but if you need to be, if you're not going to be honest with people, be honest with yourself, because you can't grow or change anything if you're not willing to anyway. So where can you be found, and where can you be found virtually be found? That's what I mean.
Okay, so there's my website, which is www.mamaluna, that's just with one M, so that's mamaluna.online, and there you will find just all the information you need. And that's frequently asked questions, benefits of Yoni Steaming, my workshops, other services that I offer. Obviously, my Yoni Steam seats and herbs and stuff as well. Social media as well. So Instagram is the one that I use the most, and that's literally mama_luna Yoni Steam. That's YONI. TikTok, it's the same, Mama Luna Yoni Steam. Facebook, which I really don't use, Mama Luna Yoni Steam. So those are the platforms. I'd say if anyone is intrigued or would like to get in touch, my website and Instagram are the best places to get in touch. I'd definitely say to sign up to my mailing list, because that's where I share the most information. Like I have the herb of the month, different ways to work with them. I really want the work that I'm doing to be like relatable. I just want to keep it real, so I do share a bit more information about like myself and growing up and just exploring so many things. That's also the space where I share the different things I've done alongside Yoni Steaming, in terms of like reclaiming my body and just having fun with the healing work and stuff as well. So yeah.
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay.
Excellent.
Great. And one last question. In the going forward, what would you like for Mama Luna's Yoni Steam journey, process, whatever you want to call it? Where would you like to see the ultimate goal for it? What is the ultimate goal for it?
Oh gosh, the ultimate goal is for every woman and girl to know that they are a human, and to literally just like stand in that truth. To stand in the truth of their human rights and just live with complete autonomy and agency. I know that probably sounds a bit basic, because it's just like, well, who doesn't know they're human? Like, of course we do, but the human rights, a lot of us don't know that at all, and that's ultimately what I want. I'd love to be able to, teach like retreats around the world and stuff as well, and Costa Rica for like 3 days and stuff. Like, I don't get me wrong, I'd love to do that, and run really big.
It's possible. It's possible.
Yeah, but ultimately the end goal for this is literally for each and every woman and girl to know that they have the right to live an authentic, free life with autonomy and agency. So yeah.
Okay.
Excellent.
All righty. So I think we've got it all there.
Yeah.
But thanks for accepting the invite.
Thanks for having me.
It's an absolute privilege to meet the person behind the videos.
Yeah.
And that's what we're all about.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh no, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. So is that a wrap now, Miss Sugar?
That's a wrap.
All right.